Digestion and
Chance.
fuel.
Patty. Patty, come on. So my excuse today, I did enough today. One extra walk. It's gonna max out, it's too much. So I've convinced myself that walking is gonna be a little too much. I can't believe it. Can't believe I almost convinced myself that 10-minute extra walk would be a little too much for the day. So, I overcame the objection by saying there's 1,440 minutes in a day, and I've got 10 minutes to walk. I really do. Because you end up scrolling on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, TikTok, or something. You can scroll for 10 minutes pretty easy. Pretty easy. And that's not going to get you to your goal. There's a lot of cool things on there, informative things, but it's definitely not going to get you to the goal. Now, another thing I said, I got to wait, for the perfect lighting, blah, blah, blah. But I got a little light attached to this here. And I was excited to use the new gadget. Plus, I was excited to use my Apple Watch because it connects to the app. So my Apple Watch connects to the app that I use for me and my clients, and it's going to count steps and count calories, and it's going to count heart rate and whatnot, right? So it's good for tracking and accountability, which is awesome. So sometimes when you get new equipment, it's quite motivating to keep yourself going, or new ski equipment, new hockey equipment, new boxing equipment, anything, new outfits, that'll do it. So that was, motivating enough. And Patty likes the walks. Hopefully you guys like the talks and walks. So our theme this week was digestion, and the guys out here with the plumbing for the city were buzzing away again, quite loud. I'm sure they're fixing whatever they're doing in there, the water leak or whatnot. So you can see the human body is very similar to your house, the way it's made, the way the city's made, the plumbing of it, right? So digestion is such a huge thing to absorb nutrients, and if you want to reach your goals, you got to be able to absorb nutrients. If you're eating certain things like we talked about before, we already have the glyphosate in the fertilizer. You cook with aluminum pots and pans and aluminum foil. You have certain ingredients in the materials, as far as your Oreo cookie or your Lucky Charms or your certain cereals, or what's in a chocolate bar. Look how many ingredients there are. What's in a can of Coke, donut. I like these things. I'm not judging you, not judging myself. I'll eat them. Potato chips. There's certain ingredients in there that we don't even have a working knowledge of what that actually is. No clue. So if you can't absorb your nutrients, your brain's going to want to fill it up more. At the same time, like I said, certain chemicals in the foods, it prevents you from feeling full. So you're going to want more and more and more. It works in the same idea as the cannabinoid receptors. So certain seed oils will work on the cannabinoid receptors in the brain, and you basically get the munchies, same as cannabis. So I think it's linoleic acid, something like that. It's in seed oils. But you're not going to avoid all the fertilizers, the aluminum, the seed oils, the chemicals in the certain foods. So what do? You can definitely try, do your best to eat certain things that don't have all these different chemicals and preservatives. For example, what's the ingredients of an egg? It's egg. What's the ingredients of a steak? It's steak. Ingredients of a fish? It's fish. What's the ingredients of a carrot? There's just carrot in there. And I know we talked about vegetables having certain lectins that have protective devices, which possibly damage the gut. Again, you can't avoid eating everything. So don't be too hard on yourself. Just focus on using your food as fuel. For example, if you're gonna drive your car, you got to fill it up with fuel. You have to send it, to its destination. When it runs out of fuel, you have to go to the reserve tank. And the reserve tank, this is a key thing. I say this all the time. This is the key thing. The reserve tank is the fat storage. The fat storage is what you're looking for. But you have to tap the tank, right? How do you tap the tank? Well, you got to get the car out of the driveway. You got to change the gears a bit. You have to rev the engine a bit. You have to change the actual environment of the... You can't just go on a flat road the whole time. You got to... Maybe you can put weights in the trunk or something, or you go on snow, it's gonna, or in certain mud, and that's gonna definitely challenge the car and to burn more fuel and all the fluids will get burnt out too. So you got to tap into that extra tank. So don't really focus on like, oh, I got to drop calories and then move more. That's kind of the right idea, but it's just better to think, okay, this is my calories I eat per day. This is the fuel I put in. I'm going to tap the tank. I'm going to drain the tank. So the draining of the tank is the key to actually tap into the extra fuel storage. If you get rid of the extra fuel storage, your body is clever and it's gonna tap into, it's gonna use the windows as fuel, the tires as fuel, the seats as fuel. So it's gonna start going at the bones and everything like that. This is an extreme example. You don't have to go that far, but if you look at all the marathon runners, they're not too chubby. The hikers, long distance hikers, not too chubby, because they've tapped into everything. Versus the power lifters, they have a bit like the guy Thor. His name's Thor. He's got a great name. 1,000 pounds he lifts. He's not ripped, Underneath he's got a bit of chub to him. He's underneath. He's going to be ripped. A lot of muscle there. Or Eddie Hall. There's a lot of muscle there, but they need that weight. Those heavyweight fighters, they pack a big punch. They wrestle. They're hard to wrestle, but they're not super ripped. They got a little bit of a gut on them. So you need to tap the tank, and then it's going to go into extra fuel storage. And you'll know it happens because you'll feel a bit irritable, a little bit dizzy. You might feel a little lightheaded. You'll feel lacking energy, but after a while, like if you're doing like fasting or whatnot, you're going to start to feel a bit clear-headed. So the fasting will work also for some people. So as you use your devices to connect to like a Fitbit or your Apple Watch, or even the running apps, I can't remember all the names, but you're going to hold yourself accountable, and it's kind of fun to gamify it all. So yeah, my clients and I use these apps to track things, but you don't get focused on technology. It's pretty simple. You just focus on moving until the gas tank's finished. So the sugar is gone in the body, and by moving more, there's other benefits too. Like you're going to sleep better, which again, it fixes that satiation, the feeling of being full. Sleep is huge. Now, going back to digestion and the plumbing, if you're eating the right foods and having the right fuel, you're going to move better. If you move better, you're going to sleep better. So the fuel is kind of essential. You go to the gas station, there's like different categories of the fuel. You could possibly use water or vegetable oil, but I don't think it's going to work as good as the fuel technology you have now. So get the proper fuel and food inside you, empty the tank, go into the reserves, okay? That's the key. So thanks for watching. Hey, appreciate it. When in doubt, work out.